Matt, that is so amazing. And there's so much to unpack there. I want to just take a step back first and get a better understanding of how you knew that you were able to take that risk and step away from medicine, because medicine gives us a lot of certainty day to day. That's how a lot of the listeners here are generating their income. But you obviously reached a point where you said, it's okay to back away now. We're hitting certain milestones. Can you just talk us through that? Like, how did you know that it was okay to take that risk and pivot?
Yeah, it's certainly not a decision to be taken lightly, that's for sure. And and it really was like a light bulb going off for me. And I had thought that our savings were for retirement, like building up a nest egg so that we could afford to retire in a fair degree of luxury, maybe 20 or 30 or 35 years down the road, whenever it would happen. So I kind of, like a lot of people, I bought into the idea that success kind of follows a certain formula. You work really hard in school, you get a great degree, you get a high paying job, you work your ass off. Am I allowed to swear on your podcast, by the way?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I
Sometimes
reached a point. No, I reached a point where I actually told guys, I was going to tell guests, like, it's not encouraged, but it's kind of encouraged. Just, just be natural. It's all good.
Yeah, it's the word that comes to mind. So, like this formula, this recipe for what success means, that you work your ass off for really what are the best years of your life, which also happen to be the years for those of us who have kids when our kids are at home. And then once your kids are gone, you finally reach this achievement of financial X number of dollars in the bank, and then you can retire and do all the things that you've always wanted to do. And so I bought into that idea, but really what our milestone was that we reached seven figures in our account balances. And at the same time, we had been quite aggressive in paying off our mortgage. So we paid off our mortgage at the time. So we had, you can figure out, our net worth was somewhere, around, I'll be honest with you, it was somewhere around $2 million. And
Yep.
now that wouldn't seem like a lot of money to a lot of doctors, but for us, it made, and it wasn't the target that had been reaching for previously, but it made us realize that we had choices if we were just to take a little bit of a leap of faith and maybe entertain some other decisions that we could make with our life. Because we looked at that money and we said, like, okay, this career doesn't feel so sustainable. What is this money for if it's not to give us more choices now? And so we realized that that quote unquote normal path is really just one option. And there's lots of other ways that you can design your life if you kind of break out of that narrow path. So to answer your question about the kind of risk aspect of things, really what I realized at that point in time is that it was more risky for me to stay in medicine than to leave medicine. I think risk is a funny thing. There's a financial author named Carl Richards. He's got a great definition of risk that I really like. It's simple, but it's profound. He says that risk is what's left after you've thought of everything else. And so I really try to be as open-minded about risk as possible, because it's really easy to see the most salient short-term risk that's right in front of your face and then not see clearly all the other risks, like opportunity costs and things like that, that might be even more significant to you in the long term. And so for me, I reached a point where staying in medicine would be more risky than leaving, because I had really done everything that I could over a period of 6 or 7 years to try to make it a sustainable career. I'd taken care of myself as best I could, eating well, exercising, building up my own personal resilience, trying to achieve balance, decreasing my hours. I even changed hospitals to see if a different department would be better for me. I tried to get involved in the departments that I was working in to try to make them function better, to see if I could improve things from the inside. And in spite of all of those efforts, things still felt like they were either stagnating or deteriorating for me. And then I also realized that we've got 4 kids, and in 2017, around the same time that we reached that financial milestone, I realized that the ages that our kids were at, we were halfway done our time with them when they would be at home before they'd be taking off on their own and living their own lives. And that realization hit me really hard, that we had this window of opportunity to do something that was really important to us. And if we didn't take that chance, then that window was going to close. And so all those things put together is really what prompted us to make that big change.